What's going on, guys? I've been asked a couple times how hard my turbo kits are to install, and being as I have got a second gen fit here that I'm installing this kit on, I figured I would make a how-to video on installing these kits. This is not going to be a bolt by bolt how-to, but I will go through and show you what goes where and any modifications that need to be made, which aren't really no real modifications need to be made. The only real things that need to be done are holes in the bottom of the crash bar to mount the intercooler. You need to move where this bracket is on the AC line. From the factory, it's back behind this joint. You need to move it to the front side and then kind of push the AC lines back a hair to make room for everything. But this is a kit. This is a full kit, so it's got turbo, all the oil feed lines, drain stuff, fuel pump, injectors, all that jazz, and an external wastegate with the TDO4 13T. So the external wastegate, the internal wastegate gets welded shut. This is the turbo manifold. The external wastegate on it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As far as all the parts, there's no welding or anything that needs to be done. The oil drain has to be put in the pan, and so you need to pull the pan off and you just have to drill a hole. Weld anything, you have to drill a hole and then you can bolt in the oil drain. Alright, so let's get started. It's going to be take off all of your stock stuff, stock header, the stock cat, your intake junk, your wiper cowl assembly. You'll need to take that off to be able to get the old header out of here. But first step really would be bolt this on there. If you're gonna do the external wastegate, put it on there before you bolt the manifold to the car. It just makes it easier. But this just goes back there and bolts on there, and we'll bolt that on there and then get the turbo on. Alright, here we go. Turbo manifold is on there. Next step, grab your turbo, put it on there. It fits back through here. I think I can do this one-handed. Alright, there we go. Like that. Now you bolt that on there. Alright, now turbo is mounted. Let's put on the downpipe. This is the top section. The V-band, 2.5 inch all the way down. The lower section bolts up to the stock mid-pipe or any sort of mid-pipe that you have. Primary O2 sensor, secondary, and then wideband O2 sensor spots. Put this in. Lined up. Run the bolts in and then bolt on the lower section. Also, don't forget, put gaskets where they need to go. Alright, got our downpipe on, got our O2 sensors in. Next up, we will put on the oil feed. These I usually use a sandwich plate that goes in between the oil filter, and then you just run your line off of that. Simplifies things, makes it easy. The TD04, it uses a banjo bolt that will screw into the end of the oil feed line. And that uses this, goes like that. And screws on there like that. And you just put your oil filter right on top of that. Alright, we have got the oil feed on there. See the sandwich plate, oil filter. Runs up and around and to the top of the turbo there. Next, we will put in the drain, which, after thinking about it, probably would have been easier to put that on the turbo before bolting the turbo in, but here we are. So, this in next. Alright, have the drain on, have the drain tube on. That is the bung in the oil pan. When you put the bung or your drain into the oil pan, make sure you put it up as high as you can. You don't want it, that's hard. You don't want it down here. You want it higher up. You need it above the oil level for it to drain properly. Next, we will put on the intercooler piping. Start with this piece. Let's see here, turn that off. Start with this. This goes up here. This has got the blow valve on it, off of there, and the MAF sensor. MAF sensor goes bolt in there like that, and this goes right there with clamps on it, but that's where that goes. And then this piece goes here. Kinda. There it is. Alright, that goes there. That 90-degree coupler goes onto the bottom of this. This piece, this one goes back into here, onto there, and then, yeah, this one goes up, this goes to the turbo outlet, this goes to the end of this, and that just goes up in there like that. And then put this. If I can get this on there. Alright, there we go. Ish. Alright, there we go. And the filter intake to the turbo. go back between some of these hoses. Just like that. This is, yeah, this one. Is part of the PCV system. I have a hose, goes from here to there. This, yeah, it's hard to tell. This, yes. This goes to the outlet of that. The wastegate, there's a nipple that's on the compressor housing that goes to the wastegate for the boost control. And I mean, really, that's it. Just put in your boost gauge. Oh, for this, you'll need one of these, and you'll want to put this in the intake manifold. Probably gonna put it right here because you need a vacuum boost line from the intake manifold to be able to actuate the blow-off valve. So when the throttle closes, the intake manifold goes into vacuum and then opens the blow-off valve for that to work. This needs to go to a vacuum line. It can't go to, you don't want to run this to the same line that you run your wastegate to. Because the wastegate reference line doesn't see vacuum. You need something that will see vacuum, so this needs something coming off of your intake manifold to run the blow-off valve, and then also use that same line off of the intake manifold for your boost gauge. Run a T-fitting and be able to run your boost gauge off of that line. And then injectors, if you want to do injectors, you can run low boost on the stock fuel system, but if you want to run more than like 4 pounds, you'll need injectors. These are 410cc Acura RDX injectors. You'll need jumper harnesses with them. The plugs on these and the plugs on the fit harness are not the same, so you need jumper harness to go in between there. The fuel injectors, this is the fuel rail here. The fuel injectors are under there. So to get to those, you just undo these 5 bolts, and then you can I think that's it. And then you can undo this intake manifold and swing it out of the way enough to be able to get to the injectors and replace those. Fuel pump is Quantum Fuel Systems, but it's for a Mitsubishi Evo 10, and fits into the fit fuel sending unit. I believe you have to reuse the fit fuel filter screen thing that goes on the bottom, but this physically fits into the fuel sending unit and works. So that's about it. Alright, let's put the rest of the intercooler piping on, get all our clamps on there, and then we'll start it. Also, fun fact, pro tip, whatever you want to call it, these little impact guns or the little electric ratchets or stuff like that, they're great for tightening down these T-bolts and the hose clamps and stuff. However, be careful that you don't over tighten them, because it's really easy to turn the old righty-tighty into righty-loosey. So, just be fair warned. It's helpful, but as soon as it starts to click, that usually means it's pretty good. Alright, so there we go. Everything is hooked up. Clamps are all tight. Lines are all hooked up. Here is the vacuum line into the intake manifold. Running the boost gauge and the blow-off valve. That's pretty much it. It's pretty easy, straightforward, no real modifications or cutting or no welding. Everything just bolts on. So go ahead and start it. I don't have K-tuner loaded on here yet, but the car should still start. Alright, I'm doing the fuel pump now. To do the fuel pump, you need to take out the center console. There are two plastic screws up here either side, and then one that's back here in the cup holder. Then you need to pull out the little dealie here, make sure your handbrake is up, and then you can lift it up from the rear and slide it out. And then you get to your your fuel pump is under here. Undo these little tab things. Pop this up. Disconnect the fuel sending unit. I've already got it out. Ugh. But yeah, undo. Fuel sending unit out. I've already got it out. Undo all your little fuel lines on top. Undo the plug. You take it out, you unscrew this ring. So take a screwdriver and very carefully tap it loose. Take it out. Then you get this. Very carefully pry this lower piece off. Unplug these dealy whoppers. And then there are 3 tabs, one here, and one there. And then it comes out. And then we will undo these tabs on the bottom, unplug it up top, and then the fuel pump should come out. Alright, now with the fuel pump, you will need to shave down, let's see, this like clip part that's on the side. The first gens it fits in without any problem, but this little clip part on the side is hitting on part of this. So we will shave that down and then go from there. Alright, got it shaved down. You can see sides, took off all that there. Similar to the stock one, uses the same plug. So put these little caps on when you do that, keep junk out of there. I use die grinder. You could use a Dremel or something to shave that out of there. But, alright, let's pop this in there. Also, there's this. Take this off. Put it on there. Put this. Ta-da. Just like that. Ta-da, there we go. Everything's back in, plugged up. It's time to put it back in the car. Also, I put it all back together and then tried to start it and it wouldn't crank. Or it would crank but it wouldn't fire, which usually means that you don't have fuel pressure. So took it back out and there's an O-ring that's in. It was stuck in the bottom, right in that hole right there. Put that on top so it seals and builds fuel pressure, because without that then you have no fuel pressure and you have, without fuel pressure you don't have anything. So put that O-ring on there, seal it up, get fuel pressure. Alright, now we're going to do the injectors. There are 5 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then one back here. There. Undo that one. Take all these out. And then you just need to peel this back enough to be able to get to this right here. This is your fuel rail right here. Undo those 2 bolts or nuts there. And then gas will go everywhere. And pop your new injectors in. That's pretty much it. Use the jumper harness to get the right plugs. But that's it. It's pretty quick, easy. Go ahead and do that. And when you're trying to pull the fuel rail off, there's these little clips on there. Pull those off, and you can you can take those off to get the injectors off. Alright, injectors are in. Old blue friends. When you get these in, before you put it all back together, when you get the fuel rail on and everything bolted down, prime the fuel pump. Don't start it, obviously, because all your other junk can hook up. But prime the fuel pump and make sure there's no leaks or anything, and make sure, just prime it a couple times and make sure you're not spewing fuel out anywhere. And when you do the fuel pump before you do the injectors. When you do the fuel pump, get it all in and start it, and make sure it starts before you go do the injectors, because process of elimination. So if the fuel pump is not building pressure, then you figure that out before you do the injectors. Because if you do the injectors and not test the fuel pump, and then the car's not starting, it could either be something with the injectors or it could be your fuel pump. So just make sure the fuel pump works, start the car with the stock injectors in there, and then go ahead and do your injectors. And then just need to scale the fuel maps in K-Tuner, and then we'll start it up with the bigger injectors in there. that's pretty much it, guys. If you've got any questions, comments, concerns, complaints, whatever, leave those down below. Email me, hit me up on Instagram, whatever. So, catch you later.